This is the new Audi A3, and according to Audi, they are raising the benchmark on what these kind of cars are capable of. This 3-door model is open for order, and you can get it on the road for €25,900. There are 4 engines to choose from, all of them been reworked. They say it delivers efficiency gains of 12%. There's the 1.4 TFSI, 122 brake horsepower, 1.8 TFSI, 180 brake horsepower, and a 1.6 TDI, 105 brake horsepower, and a 2-litre TDI, 150 brake horsepower. It launches in Ireland in early September 2012. All of the A3 range will have Bluetooth as standard, and all of the engines are in tax band A, unless you get a Quattro model, which will be band B. Welcome along to the Audi A3. Now, a lot of you may think that this is not a new car, and it is very similar to the outgoing one because it would be literally suicide to make a new car and forget about the old one. So Audi are into history. Audi are into the kind of ramifications of having a brand new car and respecting the outgoing model, and that's why this one looks like the outgoing model. Simple, isn't it? This is a new step, a new way for Audi to go in, because this has been lightened, it's been widened, it's been lowered, and the exterior has actually been designed by an Irishman called David Caffery. I got to meet David Caffery today and I gave him a little interview, so here's the interview. Come back to me after the interview and there'll be more about the actual test drive of the car. So I asked David what they were after in terms of design of the new A3.
The Audi A3 is very different than the Q5 to design. The Q5 was essentially a new car, not seen before. The A3 obviously has a long history and a very successful history. So we had to basically discover what the DNA for the A3 was and how to evolve it. Of course, first look, the car should look like an A3. It's the most important thing. But not look like the old model, of course, a new model. From the first A3 to the second edition, the car came a little more athletic, stronger, not so much fat. And this car we wanted to make more dynamic, more sharp, more sporty, and to sit on the wheels, really like a sports car. We took cues from the sports car, a typical sports car with the A3. You can see from the front and the back the car looks extremely wide. Of course the shoulder is a lot lower than it was before. The old car had a particularly strong wedge which made the back quite high. Here we really want to push everything down, and to emphasize this we've worked on stuff like you can see here over the wheel arches there's a strong shadow which catches a strong light, and this gives emphasis to the wheels. So again, emphasizing that this car should be a more sporty car than the previous A3. Yeah. And the roof is very, very dynamic, very sharp, and you can see even like all the line work is extremely sharp, so the car looks much more dynamic, much more modern, of course, than the previous model. And all lines are quite directional. As you can see in the rocket here, we've got a very sharp line going upwards, a very dynamic line that lines up with the back bumper, so it gives the car a lot of speed. I'm passionate about Audi as a brand because they are a sporty brand and they like to push ahead. Now since I'm in Santa Monica, we're looking more at the conceptual, what's for say next 15-20 years. Really? So we're looking further afield.
Any inside secrets?
No, sorry. No, not yet. Well, we're working both on production, but also because of LA and because the environment is a lot is happening around. We're also looking into a further afield of transport design.
Brilliant. David Caffery, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you all the success in Audi in the future. Keep flying the Irish flag out there.
Yeah, yes.
And we'll see you on the next Audi trip, hopefully, when you design the next car.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so that was David Caffery. As you can see, a very, very, very nice man. He has been designing cars and designing bits for Audi for the last 11 years, so he knows his stuff inside and out. And I have to say, the more I talked to him, the more I realised what he was talking about. How the design has changed and altered and grown up. And I'm very impressed with what Audi have done with this A3. I am on massively steep hills here. But I'm very impressed with what Audi has done. This one is the 1.6 TDI, and it's probably the one you're going to plump for in Ireland when you're thinking about buying this car, because it is in tax band A. It has 105 brake horsepower, comes with a 6-speed manual box, and can return 4.8, give or take, litres per 100 kilometres. And that's pretty good. Now this car is much bigger than I thought it was going to be. I don't mean outside. The actual footprint of this car is the very same as the original Audi A3. So that hasn't altered. It also weighs the same as the original Audi A3. So they've lightened everything. Now, the impressive pieces of information about the car is that engines. Not just how it looks. There's a 1.4 TFSI, that's a petrol. Turbo fuel stratified injection is the technical term for TFSI. That 1.4 petrol is a superb drive. I mean, really, really good drive of a car. Now, it's in tax band A. 1.4 petrol. There is also 1.6 diesel, the one I'm in, tax band A. A 2-litre diesel, tax band A, until you get to a Quattro one, and guess what that's in? Not C or D or anything like that, B. So my 1.6 diesel here is tax band A. You're all going to jump at the diesel one. Think about that, because the 1.4 petrol was superb to drive today. Really happy little engine, really happy on the move as an engine. I was happy enough to be driving around in it. Another thing I was very happy with was the 1.8 litre turbo petrol. That was good. Now, coming up is an enormous tunnel. So we have to be very careful in here. Not allowed to do things in tunnels in this country. Can you hear the engine at all? Yep. Don't break the speed limit in the tunnel. Bink. Xenon headlamps. Of course, this one's spec'd out the last with full sat nav built in, dual zone climate control. I love these new air vents here in the front. They respect the old version, the one that's still there, but they're fresh and modern. You push them in and they diffuse the air and make it kind of blow out gently. And if you pull them out, they direct the nose of air straight at you, like this kind of pinpoint thing, which is quite a cool little feature to have in a car of its size. Now the thing about the A3 is it looks and feels luxurious. That's the end of the tunnel, by the way. It looks and feels luxurious, like an Audi should. There's no compromise on the look and feel of the actual car. So I'm delighted to say that the Audi A3 could easily be the king of the segment. Now I won't declare that until I've driven it on Irish roads, because these roads here in Mallorca, all on the island, are flat as a pancake. They're bloody narrow and you kill yourself on that side of it, but they're very, very flat. There's very few bumps in them. But if it handles just like the A4, which is the little big brother, or the A1, which is the little brother of this, I can't see why it won't be king of this segment, because handling wise, safety wise, styling cues, luxurious feel and drive when you're driving along, the range of engines are just spot on. Honestly, look at the 1.4 litre petrol before you go off and buy yourself a diesel one. Have a look at the 1.4 petrol. It's good value. It's cheaper than the diesel. Basically the same spec. It has more or less around town, you're going to get the same fuel economy from it as the 1.6 diesel. the way they've built it, it's got cylinders shut down in it as well. There isn't time in a video to show you all of the engine combinations of the car, so I'm just going to give them all a mention. This 1.6 diesel is probably the one you're thinking about buying or wanting to buy as the A3 goes. I would have no problem whatsoever in putting my money down for this car, because I can fit in the back of this, and we put it to the test today. 3 adults, no joke. 3 adults fit in the back of this car. 3 full-size adults with 2 adults in front of them. 5 adults, no problem. 3 in the back, 2 in the front. Absolutely spectacular. I'm delighted to report that Audi are definitely on a storm at the moment with their cars, and this is just another one to add to the pile of already decent offerings. There's not one car in the Audi range I wouldn't own or have for myself. Not one. From Mallorca or Majorca or Menorca, whichever one you want to call it, fare thee well. I shall see you on the far side. I'm going to the hotel now, and I'm going to have a very welcome pint because it is 22.5 degrees outside, and I'm melting. Every time I open the door in the car, I melt. But until then, fare thee well. See you later.